When you look at the list of players with the most seasons scoring 25 or more league goals in a single year, you'll find some of the greatest names in football history. These are players who consistently performed at an elite level, season after season. But then there's Messi and Ronaldo, two players who exist in a league of their own. This stat is just one of countless examples of how these two have redefined football excellence. The Messi versus Ronaldo debate is arguably the most controversial discussion in sports. It has divided fans, sparked endless arguments, and, no matter how passionately you defend your side, there will never be a universally agreed upon answer. But what if I told you that this video will completely change how you view this debate? Instead of pitting them against each other, we're going to focus on something far more fascinating: just how impossible their careers have been. We'll explore how they've shattered football history, set records that may never be broken, and redefined what it means to be truly great. By the end, you'll realize that their achievements might have forever altered how we perceive the sport. We all know about their Ballon d'Or wins, Champions League triumphs, and the countless goals and trophies they've accumulated. But what often goes unnoticed is just how far out of reach some of their records truly are. So, let's break it down, because it's even more mind-blowing than you might think. Before we dive into their combined impact, let's first examine their individual dominance, starting with the machine himself, Cristiano Ronaldo. Throughout his career, Ronaldo has been the embodiment of hard work, discipline, and relentless improvement. Over the years, we've witnessed how his dedication transformed him into an unstoppable force on the pitch. But his story is just one half of the equation. Stay tuned as we unravel the incredible journeys of these two legends and what it would take for anyone to even come close to replicating their greatness. In football, at nearly 40 years old and with a career spanning 23 years, Cristiano Ronaldo stands as the player with the most official goals in history, a record that continues to grow and seems almost touchable. This incredible feat got me thinking, what would it actually take for someone to break this record? But before we answer that, let's take a moment to appreciate not just the sheer number of goals Ronaldo has scored, but also his remarkable adaptability, a quality that often goes unnoticed. Whether it's in England, Spain, or Italy, Ronaldo has consistently dominated. He is the only player in history to score 30 or more goals in a single season in 3 of Europe's top 5 leagues. He's conquered the physicality of the Premier League, the technical demands of La Liga, and the defensive rigor of Serie A. On top of that, he's won league titles in all 3 countries, proving his ability to excel in vastly different footballing environments. Winning major trophies is no small feat, and only a select few players have ever achieved the full set: a league title, domestic cup, Super Cup, Champions League, Club World Cup, Golden Boot, and Ballon d'Or. This collection of accolades is enough to define an elite career. Yet Ronaldo has accomplished this not once, but twice, at 2 different clubs. He's the only player in history to do so. What truly sets Ronaldo apart is his unparalleled consistency. We're not talking about just 2 or 3 standout seasons followed by a decline. Year after year, Ronaldo has delivered at the highest level. He's the only player ever to score 60 or more goals in 4 different calendar years, and the only one to score 50 or more goals in 7 consecutive calendar years. For a striker, these numbers are the gold standard, and Ronaldo has redefined what it means to be a consistent goal-scoring machine. For a striker, scoring 50-plus goals in a single season is considered elite. Doing it once or twice is remarkable, but doing it 7 times in a row? That's almost laughable. The absurdity of Ronaldo's goal-scoring records doesn't stop there. They just keep going, like his international goal record, his hat-trick records, and so much more. But to keep this video from stretching into a 20-hour marathon, let's focus on what I believe is Ronaldo's greatest accomplishment: his Champions League records. Ronaldo is, by far, the highest-scoring player in Champions League history, with 140 goals. Messi sits second with 129, and Lewandowski is third with 101. Beyond that, no one else even comes close. However, unlike some of his other seemingly untouchable records, this one might actually be in jeopardy. Why? Because of the new Champions League format. With 2 additional group stage games and potentially 2 extra knockout matches, Players now have more opportunities to score, especially against weaker opponents. This opens the door for stat padding and could make Ronaldo's single-season record of 17 goals vulnerable. Someone like Erling Haaland, with his incredible scoring rate, now has a real chance to chase down Ronaldo's tally, thanks to the extra games. But Ronaldo's Champions League dominance doesn't end there. Let's talk about knockout stage goals. If you look at the graph ranking players with the most knockout goals in the competition, you'll see Lewandowski and Benzema tied at 32, with others hovering around the 20-goal mark. Then, way out in the distance, you'll spot Messi with 49 goals. And even further ahead, Ronaldo with a staggering 67 goals in just 82 games. That's by far the most knockout goals in Champions League history, and I don't see this record being broken anytime soon. For context, Haaland currently has 8 and Mbappé has 20. But here's where it gets even crazier. If you take away Ronaldo's round of 16 goals, he still leads the pack by a massive margin. Even if we only count goals scored in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals of the Champions League, Ronaldo still has an astonishing 42 goals, more than anyone else except Messi. So even if someone manages to match his overall knockout stage goals under the new format, they'll still struggle to come close to his record in the competition's most critical stages. Ronaldo is simply the ultimate big-game player. He's the only player in history to score in 3 separate Champions League finals, and over a 12-year span, he reached 11 semifinals out of 12 possible seasons, advancing to 6 finals. His dominance in the Champions League is unparalleled. To put his achievements into perspective, only 6 players have ever won the Champions League Golden Boot more than once. Messi has won it 6 times, which is incredible, but Ronaldo has won it 7 times. These records highlight just how far ahead he is compared to the rest of the competition. Now, let's shift our focus to someone whose records I'm willing to bet will never be touched. The alien himself, Lionel Messi. While researching for this video, I was blown away by the sheer number of records Messi holds. Let's dive into some of the craziest ones. Messi ranks number 1 in several categories, including the most goals ever scored in a single top-flight league, 474, and the most trophies won by a player in history, 46. For context, Harry Kane, one of the best strikers of his generation, has 0 trophies to his name. Then, there are the records we all know about. His 8 Ballon d'Or awards, his 2 World Cup Golden Balls, and of course, a World Cup winner's medal. He's also the only player in history to score in every single stage of the World Cup: group stage, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and final. But what truly baffles me about Messi is just how far ahead of everyone else he is. It's hard to put into words, so instead, let me show you. Here's a chart of the top 10 players with the most goals and assists in Europe's major leagues in the 21st century. You'll see the usual suspects: Thierry Henry, Sergio Aguero, Karim Benzema, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and Robert Lewandowski, all of whom have cracked over 400 goal contributions. Then there's Ronaldo, way up at 646, making the others look almost insignificant by comparison. And then there's Messi. The gap between him and everyone else is staggering. He's made their numbers look mediocre, completely reshaping our perspective on what greatness truly looks like. We'll talk about the implications of this later. For Messi, it's not just his goal scoring that sets him apart, it's his playmaking. Assists can be a tricky stat to compare because they rely entirely on your teammate finishing the chance. That's why metrics like chances created and big chances created tell a better story. They highlight a player's creativity and vision, regardless of whether their teammate converts the opportunity. In the history of Europe's top 5 leagues, since big chances created became a stat, only one player has ever managed to achieve 25-plus goals and 25-plus big chances created in a single league season. That player is Messi, and he's done it 7 times, including 3 seasons where he achieved 30-plus goals and 30-plus big chances created. I promise you, we'll never see anyone come close to this level of dominance. It's rare enough to find a player who is either a prolific goal scorer or an elite playmaker. But to be both in one player? That's something else entirely. Messi has even more playmaking records, but this one alone defies logic. It's almost pointless to go over every single record he holds, But there's one thing I think everyone needs to see: the greatest year in football history. 2012. I could make an entire video just about this year, but let's sum up how absurd it was. In 2012, Messi scored 91 goals in a single calendar year, officially the most anyone has ever scored. But it doesn't stop there. He also set the record for the longest scoring streak in consecutive league games, finding the net in 21 straight matches and scoring 33 goals during that run. To truly appreciate how much of an anomaly Messi was in 2012, let me show you one more graph. This chart displays the players with the most goal contributions, goals plus assists, each season in Europe's top 5 leagues across all competitions. You'll see legends like Thierry Henry, who cracked 60, and Ronaldinho, who managed 50. As you move through the years, the numbers become increasingly ridiculous, with Messi routinely hitting 70+ and even 88 goal contributions in a single season. But in 2012, he shattered even his own standards: 104 goals and assists in one season. Triple digits. At this point, words fail to describe just how extraordinary this is. So far, I've only covered Messi and Ronaldo separately, but I promised that this video would change how you view their careers. What I'm about to show you next will do just that. This is where everything changes: how you view and appreciate Messi and Ronaldo forever. The truth is, Messi and Ronaldo belong in their own category in football, and I'll tell you why. Before these two took over, the average number of goals needed to win the Golden Boot in a league season was around 27. The record for the most goals in a single season belonged to Hugo Sanchez, with 38. That's what a normal year of scoring looked like. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then came the 2011-12 season and the 2014-15 season. And pretty much every single season they played in, Messi and Ronaldo didn't just break records, they shattered them. The two of them scored 40+ La Liga goals 3 times each, with Messi once hitting an unbelievable 50. The only player who even came close was Luis Suarez, who managed 40 goals in a season. Think about that. It took Suarez scoring 40 goals just to match Messi and Ronaldo. It wasn't until they left Spain that we started seeing normal scoring numbers again. But after witnessing what Messi and Ronaldo did, how can we even consider those numbers normal? Our perception of scoring has been completely warped. Scoring 25 goals in a season used to be elite. Now, after watching two guys routinely hit 40, it feels almost ordinary. At this point, comparing Messi and Ronaldo to other attackers is almost pointless. Let's look at their prime scoring years. Between the 2010-11 and 2015-16 seasons, Messi scored 224 league goals and Ronaldo scored 234. Combined, that's 458 goals in just 6 seasons. To put that into perspective, let's compare Messi and Ronaldo's combined scoring numbers over those 6 years against every single team in Europe's top 5 leagues. After tallying up every single team's goal-scoring numbers across Europe's top 5 leagues over the same 6-year period, Messi and Ronaldo's combined total of 458 goals ranked 4th. Let that sink in. Two players outscored almost every football club in Europe's elite leagues. But it gets even more ridiculous. During this 6-year stretch, Messi and Ronaldo missed a combined 45 games. If we calculate their goals per game instead of total goals, you'll find that their combined rate was higher than every single football club in Europe's top 5 leagues. Two players, just two, were more efficient in front of goal than the biggest clubs in the world. Watching one of them play was already an anomaly, but having both of them at the same time? What they did to football needs to be studied. They didn't just raise the bar, they launched it into another stratosphere. And while they brought immense joy to the sport, they also, in a way, ruined it. Messi and Ronaldo redefined what greatness looks like, and in doing so, they forced us to reevaluate the accomplishments of past generations. Players who were once considered the greatest of all time are now being knocked down a tier because their stats simply don't compare. Take someone like Johan Cruyff, for example. He was considered the GOAT of European football. 3 Champions League titles, 3 Ballon d'Or awards, and an iconic career that seemed impossible to surpass. And while he's still a legend of his era, His numbers now look modest compared to Ronaldo's 5 Ballon d'Ors and 5 Champions Leagues, or Messi's 8 Ballon d'Ors and 4 Champions Leagues. Even players who were once considered Tier 1 legends have been bumped down to Tier 2, and it's even worse for the entire generation of footballers who had the misfortune of sharing the stage with Messi and Ronaldo. Because of Messi and Ronaldo, the achievements of other great players have been watered down. A striker who would have been considered great in any other era is now labeled as merely good. Players like Lewandowski and Suarez, who managed to score 40 league goals in a season, would have had their accomplishments immortalized in football history. But unfortunately, Messi and Ronaldo made scoring 40 goals look routine, something they could do in their sleep. The harsh reality is that some legends of the game deserve to be held in much higher regard than they are. But because they never got the chance to truly shine in the spotlight, they never had the opportunity to cement their legacy. When you get to define an era yourself, your legacy becomes monumental. But between 2008 and 2023, a span of 15 years, no one else had that chance. Think about players like Xavi, Iniesta, and Neymar. If Messi and Ronaldo didn't exist, they would each have multiple Ballon d'Or awards to their name. Xavi and Iniesta would unquestionably be considered the greatest midfielders of all time. The same goes for players like Modric and Virgil van Dijk, who would have won the award as well. But because Messi and Ronaldo have so many Ballon d'Ors between them, even winning the award twice doesn't seem as special anymore. Not when there's a player out there with 8. The main reason Messi and Ronaldo have been able to shatter so many records and create a tier of greatness all by themselves is their longevity and consistency. For two players to not only reach the pinnacle of their careers at such a young age, but to maintain that level well into their 30s is unheard of. Add to that the fact that they were rarely injured, always performed at the highest level, and consistently delivered goals, assists, and trophies, and it's safe to say that reaching their level is close to impossible. Since turning 30, Ronaldo has scored 447 goals. That alone is a career most players could only dream of. Since turning 30, Ronaldo has won 3 Champions League titles, 3 league titles, a European Championship, and 2 Ballon d'Or awards. His career after 30 is better than 99% of players' entire careers. And then there's Messi, who has won Ballon d'Or awards in the 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s, 3 entire decades. While most players were winding down their careers at 35, Messi was lifting the World Cup trophy. Longevity has improved in modern football, and we all know how meticulous Ronaldo is with taking care of his body. Players like Ibrahimovic, Modric, Lewandowski, and even Benzema have shown that it's possible to play at a high level well into their late 30s. But Messi and Ronaldo are in a league of their own. Both started their careers at 17 and spent 2 decades playing at the highest level, outlasting the wonder kids who were supposed to replace them. For the next generation of young talents, Messi and Ronaldo have set the most unrealistic expectations. Every time a left-footed attacker bursts onto the scene, they're instantly compared to Messi. And when they inevitably fail to live up to the hype, the response is always the same. Well, obviously, it's Messi. What we're seeing now is the next generation of talent feeling the effects of the Messi-Ronaldo hangover. For example, when it was rumored that Vinicius Jr. might win the 2024 Ballon d'Or, all I saw were posts claiming he'd be the worst Ballon d'Or winner in history because his numbers didn't come close to Messi or Ronaldo's. Never mind that Vinicius' stats were similar to almost every Ballon d'Or winner before the Messi-Ronaldo era. The question is, will we continue to devalue the accomplishments of future generations simply because they haven't reached the impossible standards set by Messi and Ronaldo? Well, I think the answer is yes. We won't be able to help ourselves. So hypothetically, what would it actually take for the next generation to catch up to Messi and Ronaldo? Let's start with Ronaldo's goal tally. That number is still climbing, even as he approaches 40. It's safe to say Ronaldo is aiming for 1,000 career goals, but since he's no longer playing in Europe, let's exclude his time in Saudi Arabia. That puts him at 836 goals. The closest active players to that number are Lewandowski and Harry Kane. But even if they scored 40 goals a season, they'd both need to play until they're 41 years old to match Ronaldo's tally. Then, there are Mbappé and Haaland, who are on a better pace. But even if they managed 40 goals a season every single year for the rest of their careers at clubs like Real Madrid and Manchester City, they'd still need to maintain that rate until they're 38 and 39 years old, respectively, to catch Ronaldo. Scoring 40 goals in a season is doable for these two. They've both already had 50-goal seasons. But one incredible season isn't enough. They'd need to keep this level up for the next 13 seasons straight in Europe's most grueling leagues while staying injury-free. Miss a season or drop off in form, and their chances are gone. Now, let's talk about Messi's goal contribution record. Excluding his time in MLS, Messi has 1,177 total goal contributions, a record I'm confident won't be touched. Let's take a best-case scenario. Lamine Yamal, a 17-year-old who's already breaking into the first team and making waves. If he spends 18 years playing at the top level, he'd need 66 goals and assists per season, every season, for 18 years straight to match Messi's total. Scoring 66 goal contributions once is elite, but doing it for 18 consecutive years? That's unimaginable. For context, in the 21st century, only 7 players have managed 66-plus goal contributions in a single season, and only Mbappé has done it more than twice. Ronaldo has done it 6 times, and Messi has done it 8 times, and they both far exceeded 66 in many of those seasons. For anyone to even come close to these numbers, they'd need the perfect combination of discipline, luck, longevity, consistency, and world-class teammates. There are just too many factors involved, and I can't see anyone reaching this level ever again. What we witnessed with Messi and Ronaldo was truly one of a kind, except we got to see both of them at the same time. The truth is, they needed each other to reach these heights. They pushed each other to levels no one thought possible. Neither could afford an off year, because the other was always there, ready to capitalize. Their rivalry fueled their greatness, and in the end, it gave us the most insane competition in the history of sports. So, it doesn't matter who you think is better. What matters is that the heights these two reached will never be matched again.